Andy sat down on the couch, his cares weighing heavy on his mind. Yeah. There were so many questions, and he was undoubtedly the man to answer them, but would his quest ever end? Would he ever...
Sorry, can I stop you there? We actually already did a narrator gag intro thing when Alan Wake came out.
Andy may have thought that he had previously done a narrator joke intro when Alan Wake came out, but I'm actually pretty sure that he was wrong, and this is actually a new thing, parroting the new XBLA game, Bastion.
No, we definitely did it for Alan Wake, I remember.
Oh.
Are you going to come out then? Or... there you are.
Why'd you ruin that? That was going to be really good.
I told you, we already did it. Look, just do the first question.
Right. Why'd you have your hair cut? People aren't going to be able to tell us apart anymore
I'm sure people can tell the difference. Right, question 1.
Hey guys, any info on Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 multiplayer? Screams Shermanator1688, spittle flecking his laptop screen. Well, Sherman, Activision traditionally likes to keep things like multiplayer details close to its chest so it can fire them out of a cannon full of $100 bills and priceless Renaissance artworks at a big media event close to launch. So they'll probably have a big multiplayer details blowout at the Call of Duty XP event taking place in Los Angeles this September. But I did get a chance to get hands-on with one of the new Spec Ops modes, the aptly named Survival mode, that sees you hopefully surviving waves of enemies, much like Black Ops Zombies or World at War's, well, Zombies. Infinity Ward's creative strategist Robert Bowling was there too and had some choice words to say about the new mode. Here he is now talking words at me.
In Modern Warfare 3, we have our massive multiplayer that we're not diving into detail, but then also in Spec Ops, our survival mode, we're blowing it out in an all-new way. I mean, we're bringing in and really blurring the lines between what is a single-player experience. We're bringing in big moments, but then more importantly, you're playing it on all the multiplayer maps, on survival mode, the new infinite wave-based mode. We're bringing in kill streaks, progressive ranking, unlocks, you buy new attachments, buy new guns, buy new gear, allow you to change up your gameplay style as the enemy's constantly changing up theirs. And that's something like you've never experienced in Call of Duty before in the way that we're doing Spec Ops now. I mean, you can call it a Delta Squad, have them come in and be defending you as you're fighting through all these AI enemies in the survival mode. It's awesome.
The Spider Mac was a regular Mac until he was bitten by a radioactive spider, at which point he became kind of a whiny Mac who could stick to walls. Anyway, he wants to know if there'll be any more Marvel vs. Capcom character DLC.
Yes, releasing new characters as DLC certainly would be a good way of not enraging fans who bought Marvel vs. Capcom 3, unlike what Capcom is doing, which is adding a bunch of new characters and releasing it as a standalone disc-only release called Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
It is a disc-only release, but if you've been holding off buying MVC3 or just can't resist the lure of new fighters, then you'll be able to get your hands on this Ultimate Edition this November.
Next up, Idon Fletcherks wants to know about upcoming rugby games again.
Yes, rugby games are like buses. You wait ages for one and then 2 come along at once. Also, there's a guy on the back of both of them huffing paint out of a plastic bag.
I know they changed the game box art, so now it's just pictures of people playing rugby.
Oh. Okay, they're only like buses in that first respect then.
Yeah, in that there's 2 of them around now. Rugby World Cup 2011, which we've mentioned on a previous show, and now Jonah Lomu Rugby Challenge, which carries the distinct advantage of being endorsed by terrifying Kiwi behemoth Jonah Lomu, as well as carrying a load of official licenses. Here's a charming Australian from the developers to tell you more.
Having New Zealand, obviously their backing with the World Cup being hosted in New Zealand, having the 14 stadiums that will be shown in the upcoming World Cup, having those stadiums in our game is going to obviously add to the realism, and you can obviously recreate matches if the favourable outcome doesn't obviously happen in the World Cup. You can do it in our game. It's stemmed from our rugby league title, so it's obviously the L and R buttons represent passing left and right. R2's basically been the sprint button for most sporting franchises. So all the kicking options within the game. So obviously on the Xbox controller you got A, B, X and Y. And each of those buttons represents a different style of kicking, with A representing a punt, B is our grubber, X is the field goal, and Y is our chip kick. So these are all gameplay options that are available to our players, as well as the right joystick representing the more finesse kind of professionalised moves like sidestepping and fending, and these are all things that people love to see because they're the obviously the highlighted forms of the game. So to have that implemented in our game is obviously going to go back to realism. It's going to add to how realistic our game actually plays.
Now, it's fair to say that the bubonic plague has suffered its fair share of bad press in the past, so it's nice to see it attempting to win back our hearts with a hip new urban makeover. As part of its virulent charm offensive, Da Black Death wishes to know the latest on the next Max Payne game.
Yeah, anybody's going to be covered in weeping buboes this winter, right? I read it in a magazine. Yeah, Max Payne 3 has been public knowledge for over 2 years now, and it was supposed to release at the end of 2009, but that clearly didn't happen, and Rockstar being Rockstar, we were just left to deal with it, okay?
Yeah, fears that Maximilian had dramatically dived his way out of certain death for the final time were allayed when Rockstar owners Take-Two Interactive confirmed it was still on the way during what was no doubt an otherwise interminably dull finance-related conference call. Finnish developer Remedy, most recently responsible for elaborate Duracell advert Alan Wake that may or may not have inspired narrator jokes, the jury's still out, is no longer involved with the series that made its name, and so the baton has been passed to bully developers Rockstar Vancouver.
Yes, but unfortunately Max Payne 3 doesn't see the troubled hero reinventing himself as a supply teacher at Bulworth Academy, meting out slow-motion justice to unruly kids in disproportionately violent fashion. Instead, Max's third outing leaps between time, locations and varying states of hirsuteness and charts the events that lead him to hand in his badge and gun to the NYPD in order to start a new life as a private security contractor in Brazil.
Now, fundamentally, this is still a Max Payne game, which means the discovery, firing and avoidance of bullets are still pivotal. However, it's been 8 years since Max Payne 2, and so the series' once revolutionary gunplay now benefits from the numerous advances Rockstar's various international studios have made since then. As such, you can expect another leap forward in the excellent natural motion euphoria technology used to make bodies react naturally to physical impact and occasionally make the task of walking through a door oddly challenging.
This should be particularly great for Max Payne, no stranger to throwing himself around the place like a burning frog, as he'll be crashing through furniture and skidding along the ground much more realistically than ever before. A cover system has been implemented to complement the bullet timing and shoot dodging action, which doesn't sound like it's making any advances over existing examples, but it should serve to mix up the running and gunning a little.
We've no idea when we'll all be deemed worthy enough for Rockstar to bestow upon us such trifles as game footage or a release date, but no doubt they'll do it in such a fashion that will be forming mobs to loot game shops come its eventual launch. Whatever happens, we just hope we see it before the year's out. Of course, there's still the matter of Rockstar's other mystery title, Agent, first announced in 2007 and supposedly set during the peak of the Cold War. You know, actually, forget I said any of that. Oh, look, another question.
Yeah, nice. Pink Ranger 07 has taken some time out of her busy schedule of transforming into a pterodactyl dinosaur to ask us about GoldenEye coming to the Xbox 360.
Well, you're right, Kimberly. It is a rare game. In fact, because of rights issues, the original GoldenEye will probably never see the light of day on Xbox, which makes it pretty astonishingly rare, if you ask us.
I think she means rare with a capital R.
Oh, well, the good news is that while the original old-school GoldenEye will probably never grace our Xboxes, GoldenEye Reloaded will. It's a reimagining of the original GoldenEye with all-new whizzy graphics, an updated story and Daniel Craig's grimacing mug plastered over Pierce Brosnan's to bring it in line with the current Bond series.
What goes on in this game is none of his business. Yes, as Dan says, this is a reimagining rather than a straight port of the original game, so while you still play as Bond, still search for Trevelyan, and still bump into Urumov, Mishkin and Xenia Onatop, the whole thing feels much more like one of the current Bond films with their predilection for Daniel Craig to gruffly shout at people and then throw them down a flight of stairs.
And the game's celebrated multiplayer will be included as well, either with 16 players over Xbox Live or for 4 players locally split screen, old school style. There's also new MI6 Ops missions that include new levels and are based around 4 different challenge types: assault, elimination, stealth and defense.
It's due out this autumn and we'll hopefully bring you more on it before then, as long as Daniel Craig doesn't gruffly shout at us and throw us down a flight of stairs. Eddie Watson wants to know what's going on with Catherine, Atlas's...
What's wrong?
Well, you know, I was going to do the standard genre intro, you know, Ubisoft's first-person shooter or Activision's horse grooming simulator for Catherine, but...
Oh, right. So Atlas's puzzle horror dating sim?
Atlas's platform adventure interactive anime?
Atlas's massively confusing allegorical psychosexual manifestation?
Yeah, let's go with that. So it's that. Put more simply, you play a man named Vincent who has a dead-end job, a long-term girlfriend called Catherine, with a K, and who spends his evenings at a bar called the Stray Sheep. Vincent then meets a girl called Catherine with a C who he becomes involved with as well. This leads to Vincent having nightmares where he has to scale huge blocky staircases that are slowly collapsing under him by pushing and moving blocks to create a path for himself. Somewhere on these staircases is usually a massive manifestation of one of Vincent's phobias, which will then try and kill him, like a baby that throws chainsaws out of its mouth, to cite but one typical example. When you're not having nightmares, you're hanging out in the bar, talking to your friends, reading your text messages and piecing together exactly what's going on.
Right, with you so far, I think. The game is certainly stylish with its lush anime visuals and a nuanced morality system, far more subtle than the black or white choices you offered in most games. It also deals with adult themes in an impressively mature way. Themes of sex, relationships and commitment all feature in the story, and the way you act throughout the game influences the way your story will progress, leading to one of a number of different endings.
Now, while literal manifestations of infidelity guilt might not seem like everyone's favourite genre, Catherine has been really well received by critics and is currently averaging an impressive 84 on Metacritic. So it's good news then that the game is getting a European release, now that it has a publisher in the form of Dead Island publisher Deep Silver. Of course, an actual release date would obviously be far too much to ask for, but rest assured, Eddie, it's on the way, so you won't have to wait too long for the horrifying yet confusingly sexy nightmares to begin.
Kill Erda Viawi likes his apocalyptic armaments and wants to know what kind of weapons we're going to be using in Darksiders 2.
Well, seeing as you play as Death, I'm going to go with Scythe.
Well, yeah, but there's more to it than that.
Scythe that shoots sickles?
Look, this guy explains it better than I do. You shut up.
He's got a pair of scythes, but over the course of the combo, they'll actually merge together to form a larger weapon so that he can deliver heavier strikes. It just depends on the particular move that players are doing or the rhythm or the cadence of the combat, and it's something that we want it to be more expressive, to have a little bit more fun with. It's nice to have something that you can animate and change shape with. He's got the option of having 2 quick weapons for rapid strikes, or delivering single, more brutal, vicious blows whenever the weapons merge together to form the larger scythe.
And that's it for this week's show, but remember, your questions are the online pass that allows our show to profit from second-hand sales, so keep the questions coming in to the gamertag Sent You a Message, or get in touch in one of the other almost 4 other ways.
Profess unfamiliarity with the concepts of circles and +1s on our Facebook page at facebook.com/sentyouamessage.
Hash our tweets up at Sent You a Message.
Or let the digital postman pop them in the binary slot over at sentyouamessage@hotmail.com.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Can I have that Catherine disc? It's for, I don't know, let's say research.